All right, so we have a Nintendo Switch. This is my first customer job. It is my first customer job. The fella said his grandchild asked him to buy him a tablet, and he's like, well, what happened to your Nintendo Switch? And he's like, it doesn't work. So he asked me if I could look at it, and I said I sure will look at it, and we will see if we can fix it. So the first thing we're going to check is the USB port. And the USB port seems to look fine. So let's plug it in and see what it does. It draws 0.0 something amps. Just flip it over. Same thing both ways. 0.0 amps. So let's take it apart. All right, no liquid damage. This thing wasn't. Let's make sure VSys isn't shorted. And VSys does not appear to be shorted. That seems okay. We know this isn't shorted because we checked. All that looks okay. Let's go around the M92. That's good. That's good. Let's make sure the CPU is not shorted. That's good. That's good. That's good. So far, no shorts. That's good. That's good. That's good. And that's good. We're getting our 15 volts, so we know that the M92 is at least negotiating with the USB-C port. Let's dig a little further. But before we dig a little bit further, let's pop this battery out. We could also see I have another battery. Can also check this battery. Let's try to cut it on with a somewhat charged battery in there. It doesn't. I think the problem with this, judging by the plastic pieces that have fallen off, I think that screen may be not functioning correctly. Oh, see, now it's cutting on. Yeah, there we go. So the battery seems to be dead because the battery, but it won't turn on. It will not cut on. Why won't it cut on? That's kind of weird, man. That's kind of weird. Let's my usual process, we'll take this off. So let's take the game card reader out. All right, game card reader is out. Let's plug the battery back in. and the logo comes on, as you can see. But it's not charging the battery. Why is it not? And it doesn't seem to want to boot. Oh, there it goes. Okay, let's see if it'll boot with a full battery in there. Let's see if it'll boot. No. All right, it should try to boot now. And it doesn't try to boot. And when I press the power button, it reboots the whole thing. This is a weird fault, man. Let's do something. I want to check my VSys when I want to check to see what the VSys is when I plug this thing in. So my VSys is low. It's 3.2 volts. And it should be closer to 4 volts. So I'm thinking that perhaps that BQ is bad. Uh-oh, I put the wrong one. I'm thinking that's what the issue is that BQ. So I'm going to take this board out, put another BQ on here, and see if that solves this issue. All right, I've got everything disconnected except for this left Joy-Con rail, or this Joy-Con rail. I just want to make sure that nothing's going to change. Yeah, same thing. So we're gonna stick to the same plan. All right, the board is out. Let's look at the back of it. Let's make sure. I'll put this in diode mode and just quickly check these 0.4, 0.4, 0.4. Good, 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 good. So all of the inputs coming into the BQ are looking good. Point 3 on our either 3.3 or 1.3. I think it's 3.3 on that cap going into, that's what feeds the P13 for voltage. I think the last thing I'll check is continuity between these two, or between these filters. Yep, all good. So yeah, I think the plan is to replace the BQ with another. So let me get set up for that, and we will go ahead and do it. So before I did this, or before I started this, I called the customer and got him to authorize the repairs on this thing. He asked me how much it was going to cost, and I told him it was going to cost $0.00. And so he agreed to the fee that I proposed, and he authorized the work for this this device. This is going to be difficult. I've only done this one time, and it was horrible. So I think the easiest thing is to come right here and snatch it straight up. So let's put a little flux down and hope nothing goes nuts. All right, the chip is off. Let's prepare the new chip. So it goes on here like so. All right, hopefully it'll sit into place. Okay, I think that's on there. Let's try to get some of this flux up. It's just so small in there, man. You shake a teeny bit, you're done for. All right. So that is off of there. So let's take this. This is the old chip. Hopefully that solves the issue. Hopefully that solves the no charging issue. So I think it's cooled down enough. Let's put the battery. Let's plug it in. It's not drawing any current now. I don't have that chip on there good. All right, let's see. All right, let's see if we get anything now. No. Okay, we're getting 4.31 volts now. Which is seems to be more normal. Let's see if we can do this without damaging the ribbon cable. All right, we have the backlight connected and the all right, so let's plug it in and see what we get. Battery logo comes on. It's drawing like 70 something milliamps. But this could be an extremely dead battery. So we'll leave it charging and we'll come back to it. All right, so the current's jumped up to 400 and something milliamps. So we're gonna wait a little bit longer. Still hadn't turned on though, so. All right, so it's charging at like 600 something milliamps. So I'm gonna unplug this. See if it comes on, and it does. So that's a beautiful thing. So we have fixed this. As long as there's no other problems, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery. And I'm going to put it back together and go from there. Hopefully the Joy-Con rails work. They only gave me one They only brought it with one Joy-Con, so I hope the young man has another. But I'll check both with mine and see if they're working. Make sure it docks and all that stuff. All right, let's I've got it put back together enough to test. Do it step by step. Let's make sure it still powers on. All right, let's turn it back off. And now we can finish putting it together. I'm presuming the Joy-Con rails are fine. That's what I'm presuming. All right, let's check the Joy-Con rails. Let's boot it up and check the Joy-Con rails. Okay, let's do that. This is the Joy-Con rail that came with it. What about the other one? Lord, I hate Joy-Cons. Most frustrating things in the world. Oh, they're dead. That shouldn't matter though. Does the friggin' HDMI work? Let's check that. Let's plug this in. Let's switch over to here. And let's see if we can get okay, HDMI works, or the docking works, so that's good. So we just need to figure out the Joy-Cons. So plug this in, let it charge some more. Okay, one's good. Okay, this one's paired, finally. I'm just gonna let it sit there for a minute, man. Let it charge or something and see if it pairs. So I'll be back in a bit. All right, that Joy-Con rail does not work. So we're going to replace it, or check to see if perhaps I didn't plug the cable in properly. Hopefully I don't have to take the whole friggin' board out. That's why I should have checked, you know, because it may have flux in that port from me changing the BQ. So let's disconnect the battery. Where are my disconnecting battery tweezers at? So let's Let's take a Q-tip. Let's put it back in there. All right. Let's cut it back on. There we go. All right. All good. All good. Put it back together. All right, let's give it one more test. Good. We'll check this other one. It's good. So yeah, it is fully functional. And notice, oh no, that's his Joy-Con, so I need to leave that on there. Let's make sure it's charging. It is charging. So yeah, so I did not guess that the BQ was bad. I measured the voltage coming out of the BQ, and it was 3.18 volts, which is not enough. It should be around 4.2 volts. That's what VSys should have. So the reasonable conclusion is we have 15 volts coming into the BQ. It should do two things. It should charge the battery, and it wasn't. And it should produce 4 volts on your VSys, and it was not doing that. So logically, that meant that the BQ was defective. So we replaced it, and now we have a fully working console. It's charging. Everything's working great. It docks. Joy-Con controllers work. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something. Sometimes we have to pop and swap to find a problem, but in this case, we were able to measure and solve it that way. So anyhow, y'all be good.